My father, Peter, had the opportunity in 1984 to purchase a small distributor here in Fort Pierce. I'm second generation Southern Eagle, second generation Treasure Coast, which I'm very proud of. So we are a multi-beverage distributor, not only beer, but non-alcoholic spirits and wine. So,
which three of your accomplishments do you feel had the most significant impact on St. Lucie County's economy and quality of life, and why?
About 60% of second-generation family businesses fail. So the fact that when my dad wanted to retire around 10 years ago, the fact that we had similar visions in the company and keeping that going. And at the time, from an economic standpoint, it was contributing, roughly $10 million in salaries, not including wages and benefits. And then also with our state excise tax, we were able to take those tax dollars and support programs like Step Up for Students. So for me, I'm very proud of the fact that we were able, my father, my partner as well, are able to have that similar vision and to keep the company in prosperity and actually growing the business.
Which of your accomplishments are you personally most proud of, and why?
Recently, I was able to strike a business deal and acquire Brown Distributing, which was an Anheuser-Busch distributor to the south in Palm Beach. It had been something that, when I started my career, I had actually worked for them for a period of time when I was in college. And it was always something I thought, wow, Palm Beach, cool market. And something I always, in back of my mind, was on my bucket list to accomplish. So to get that done in 21 certainly was one of my most proud moments in my career.
Tell us about your values and your leadership style and how they've shaped the potential of your organization.
I think my leadership style is being consistent. Whatever I ask of my employees, one, I've already done it or would do it and do it with them. And secondly, that, I take probably the most amount of pride in my employees, and I think they see that. My expectation for my management team is to lead their people and to have that ownership feeling. I feel like at Southern Eagle we have a very family style atmosphere, and I think it works well for us.
Without going into too much detail, I know COVID has affected you and your family. How has it affected the business?
So when COVID first started in March 2 years ago, it certainly the bars and restaurants shut down right before St. Patty's Day, one of the biggest beer holidays of the year. And it was about making sure we kept everybody working and in a safe environment. So we ordered up heavy in the PPP items, gloves, masks, sanitizer. We took our salesmen that did the bars and restaurants and our drivers that delivered to those accounts. We put them in grocery stores. If you remember at that time, Publix was completely wiped out of toilet paper, paper towels, everything. The managers of Publix, just for example, they're like, we got all these empty shelves, put your beer up. So it was kind of a little bit of a wild, wild west. Hospitality program was actually, we set it up through Martin County Community Foundation. That was right when COVID hit and all the restaurants were closed. So we thought it was important. One, the fact that we had so many relationships with the bar and restaurant owners and servers. I think we raised initially pretty quick $100,000. And our purpose of it was to make sure single mothers had food, rent, their medical bills paid for. We try to, do it as anonymous as possible, but just to make sure that people were taken care of in that time.
Talk a little bit more about your foundation, what it does.
The Busch Family Foundation, I am extremely proud of. It is something that year after year, I think our credibility and reputation continues to grow for the good. What we're able to do, we try to put on some community events throughout the year. Last year we were able to put on 3. It was a rodeo concert, and then we had a stag event, and then a ladies' night. So, you know, one kid family-friendly event, and then a couple adult events here locally in the Treasure Coast, St. Lucie County. And what I'm most proud of is those dollars, 100% of the dollars raised goes back to the local organizations. The dollars we raise, we make sure they stay local. You know, if we want to do something on a national level, that really becomes something my dad and I do personally. But if you spend, you know, if you live here in the Treasure Coast and you come to one of our events, you can be assured that those dollars stay here locally.
2022 is just beginning. What's at the top of your to-do list, either personal, professional, or both?
Personally, I just had my 5th child, so that's going to keep me busy for sure. My wife is, God bless her, she is 3 young boys at home and struggling to stay sane, I'm sure, but she's doing a great job. I'm very proud of her. Professionally, like I said, we recently acquired Brown Distributing. We brought on 120 new employees. So changing the culture, you know, nothing that Brown did wrong. Southern Eagle's just different. But I'm very proud to welcome their team into our team and kind of start blending that family atmosphere, earning their trust. I'm excited to continue to build that Southern Eagle reputation.
And the Boys and Girls Club?
Even though we contribute to, you know, 25, 50 plus different organizations yearly, annually, the Boys and Girls Club sticks out. And I feel like you know, the reason why it's important to me is years ago, Melanie, who used to work at the Boys and Girls Club, she called me and asked if I would be an observer for one of their Youth of the Year candidates to listen to her speech. And so it was down Fort Pierce off Avenue J, I believe. And I was listening to this young lady, and I mean, one, she was a great speaker, and here there's, you know, 4 professional people sitting there kind of grilling her on it, and she was doing a great job. And part of her story was her brother was shot over a video game right in front of her. And it just kind of hit me like, this is 5 miles from my office. And at that moment, it was, you know, my dad kind of did the animals in Florida, you know, with the sanctuary and stuff, and I really thought my passion, my efforts from a philanthropic standpoint really need to make sure that each kid has a fair shot at life and has every chance to be successful or a community leader or just have a safe place to go. And I really feel like the Boys and Girls Club accomplishes that. By not only giving them that place to go do homework, have fun with their friends, to be social, to be in a safe environment. I certainly, my hat's off to the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm a proud supporter of them.
My family moved here in 1969. It has been home ever since. I am a product of the public school system here. Went away to college and law school, was going to be a lawyer, somehow wound up working with our local healthcare system, ultimately became its president, and I have lived an incredibly blessed life.
Your nomination included a great many achievements related to your work with Martin Health in St. Lucie County. Which 3 of your accomplishments do you feel had the most significant impact on this county's economy and quality of life, and why?
In terms of economic impact, clearly the development of Tradition Hospital is the single biggest accomplishment. Created a large number of jobs. A hospital is an economic engine. You've seen what's happened in that area. I'm very proud of that project. The reality is, though, that there are 100 people who deserve as much, if not more, credit than I do for the construction of that hospital. I'm also really proud of it took a long time, many years, to get state permission to build that hospital. And I was the chief legal officer during that time. So I will take some credit for that strategy that ultimately resulted in that. And then the timing of my career was such that I was given the opportunity to head up that project and then to initialize the operations at the beginning, and so has to be number one on the list. Second, I would have to say bringing the Cleveland Clinic to town. The merger with the clinic, the idea there was that we could become a destination for healthcare. And I think the future economic impact of that will be huge, but it's already there. I think as people across the country look to retire and they look to come to Florida, the older you get, the more important healthcare is. I grew up around real estate development and was always told you have to have good schools and you have to have good healthcare. And as people look to retire to this area, I think they are now looking and saying, oh, I know the Cleveland Clinic, I'm familiar with that organization, and that has made our area more attractive. And then third, for me, as I look at that, and I look out into the future, the development of the Florida Research and Innovation Center and the old VGTI building, that was an anchor around the neck of our community. We didn't know what we were going to do with it. The opportunity came for me to share that building with some of the leadership of the Cleveland Clinic that came down, and they saw an opportunity to turn it into something special. I think that will also be an engine that will attract other research organizations, and the dream that we had in the beginning for that area for medical research will continue to grow and expand, of course, with what's gone on with Florida International University and other things. I think the future is very bright. So if I'm going to pick three, those would be my three.
Which of your accomplishments, and it may include some of those, but are you personally most proud of, and why?
I think the thing I am most proud of is the fact that, I go to the pandemic. The service my organization was able to provide to this community during this time has been inspiring to me. I've never been more proud to work with the people that I worked with. So on a personal level, that has been incredibly challenging, but also something I'm very, very proud of the role that we have played during this incredibly difficult time. This sounds hokey, maybe. In a situation like that, you try and do what you think is the right thing to do. And morally, that was the right thing to do. And the organization obviously supported it, or I wouldn't have done it. But I felt like we had an opportunity to lead and to try and cut through some of the misinformation that we were dealing with as a society, still deal with. I was honored to have that opportunity. It had its positives and negatives, but it was the right thing to do. I have no regrets about it.
That sort of leads on to the next question. Tell us about your values and your leadership style and how they shaped the potential of your organization.
I believe in servant leadership. My job is to make the people that work for me or underneath me successful, to empower them, to make them believe that what they can do is important, and they can implement change and improve the quality of, say, life in the community, the healthcare that we provide. And once you hire good people and put them in that position, then all I had to do is try and keep things between the rails and watch them accomplish amazing things. And if you micromanage, you don't get to that.
What's the most difficult challenge you've faced in your roles with Martin Health over the years, and how did you navigate it?
Before the pandemic, I might have talked about hurricanes or other things, but that's a distant second to the pandemic. That is a challenge, not only because we had to provide the health care, but because I had to try and keep the spirits of my caregivers up. As a society, and we celebrated those caregivers early on, but somehow through the course of this, there have been times where it's as if they became the enemy. And that is, nobody working in that field deserves that. If you're going to direct that at somebody, direct that at me. Don't direct it at my people. They're heroes. And not being able to fill positions, having to bring in traveling nurses at remarkable expense, and I am so grateful for those nurses. But it threw all of our it's hard to provide consistent, high-quality care when you have all of that turnover and transition. You want that patient experience to be the best, and at the same time, I want to keep my people healthy, and it went on and on. Every day was a new challenge, and none of us had ever had that challenge before. We had nothing to fall back on to say this is how you do that. It's been 2 years of incredibly trying times.
Which St. Lucie County community organizations have you been most involved with, and why?
The EDC is clearly the one that I've spent the most time with. I'm proud of a number of other things that I've been involved with, but the EDC is just what has been accomplished in this community over the last several years is remarkable. And I'm proud to have been a small part in that. I've got pom-poms and I wave them and cheer everybody on, but I'm very proud of having had my association with the Economic Development Council.
Okay. And lastly, you've just recently retired, and so question of what are you going to do? Besides fishing, what's at the top of your 2022 to-do list? Well,
I'm going to stay involved in the community. I'm proud to be on the board, a local board that is spearheading an effort to develop a safety village for children here in St. Lucie County. I will stay involved in water-related issues. I've been an advocate for cleaning our waterways and will continue to do that. I think as a retired hospital president, I have an opportunity to have an impact there. And I'm on the board of the Florida Oceanographic Society and on a local PAC called Vote Water. And I will continue to look for ways to contribute. I'm excited about what Tim Moore and Indian River State College are doing, expanding the nursing education program. If I can be of assistance in that, I'd love to do that. I'm still trying to figure out what retirement means, but I want to continue to contribute. I still think I have some gas left in the tank.
We've got plenty of time.
Yes, sir.
Please give us a glimpse into your background. I believe you grew up in California and in what I'd describe as a pretty municipal family.
That's correct, yes. I grew up in Southern California. My father at one time was the youngest city manager in the state of California. City management has been in our family for the past 50 plus years, and I have been in county government here in Florida for 40 years. Started my career in the Daytona area. Most of my time has been spent in Orlando, where I was a deputy county administrator, county manager in Brevard County, and now save the best for last county administrator in St. Lucie County.
Your nomination included a great many achievements from your time as the county's administrator. Which three accomplishments do you feel had the most significant impact on the county's economy and quality of life, and why?
I think the things that the county has been able to achieve, it's hard to get down to three, but I think certainly the purchase of the port property and taking one of the 15 deep water ports in the state of Florida and turning it into what I think will be a key economic engine for the community, I think is big. $100 million annual economic impact when it gets up and running. I think getting the sales tax for infrastructure passed was big. That's $200 million plus going in over 10 years to critical infrastructure that if you want to have an economy, you've got to be able to get from A to B and have clean water and sidewalks. So that was big. Probably the third one would be re-signing the Mets for another 25 years, $36 million annual economic impact.
Which of your accomplishments are you personally most proud of, and why?
You know, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is the team and the team culture that we've been able to build, not only, I think, within our organization, but within the community. I think from our county commissioners to our executive team down to our frontline people, we are laser focused on customer service and making sure that we're doing the right things to move our community and our economy forward. I think that spills over into our relationships with our municipalities. I think it spills over into our relationships with our business partners and the EDC as we look to facilitate a better and stronger economy. And I think it spills over into our nonprofits and the work that we do with them. I think if you find the right combination of caring leadership, I think you can do anything.
Tell us about your values and your leadership style and how they shape the potential of your organization.
You know, I think for me, having a servant leader approach works well in the public sector. I think if you can put the needs of your team and the needs of the community first, that you are going to be successful in the arena in which I work. I think from a value perspective, if I think about caring, if I think about commitment, if I think about professionalism, and I think about moving with a sense of urgency, those things together make a lot of sense. I think caring, you've got to be able to do that in this world. I think if you're committed, you've got to be able to overcome the obstacles. Professional in the way that we do things in our training and our ability to manage projects, and then moving with a sense of urgency, because these windows of opportunity do not stay open long, and we've got to be able to get things done with the time that we have.
What's the most difficult challenge you've faced as St. Lucie County Administrator, and how did you navigate it?
I think the most difficult challenge has been the one that we've all been enjoying here for the past 2 years, and that's the pandemic. I think it has been some of the most challenging and difficult conversations across the board that I've ever had. And while it's been challenging, though, I think there's been some good things that have been able to come out of it. I think that we've seen the county working with IRSC, working with the EDC, working with the chamber to bring $2.4 million in 415 grants to small businesses that allowed them to work through those early days of the pandemic and keep the lights on, keep the doors open. So I thought that was important. The other thing that we saw was working with the Boys and Girls Club and Will Armistead. We had an opportunity looking at the challenges that the Boys and Girls Club was going to have with their budget and having to close their doors. We were needing to have 24-hour service for our essential employees. We needed to have medical workers that are working around the clock, first responders. They needed to have daycare. And we were able to work with Will and the Boys and Girls Club and the Mortgage Foundation for a $100,000 grant that allowed them to fund those operations for those early months in the pandemic. So it was a win for the community and our essential employees, and it was a win for the Boys and Girls Club and their employees.
What is at the top of your to-do list for 2022?
Well, it's a long list. We'll stick with the professional side of things. I think we've got to expand aggressively our water and wastewater systems to make sure that we're ready for growth. We've got a waste to energy discussion that we need to have regarding the landfill operations to make sure that we're sustainable. We want to move forward with lowering taxes as we grow and we're stronger financially. We want to make sure that we're accountable to the taxpayers, so we want to make sure we're doing that. And we've got a third of our team that's transitioning out, and bringing in the right mix of talent and vision, I think, is going to be key to maintaining that culture that we have.